Hey, what's up everybody? Sam here. This video, no, don't talk about how the video is going to be different. Leave that for after the cold open. What's up everybody? Sam here. I'm here with my friend Dominique Horsley, who just released her new single, Psalm 10. And we are going to talk about how we made the finished product. So if you want to see part one of this video, head over to Dom's channel where you can see some of the conversation we had about the songwriting process and what brought her to a place of really starting her journey as a solo artist, even after having done a lot of musical things so far. Here, we're going to talk about how we made what you're hearing. So, you know, like we were saying in the last video a few months ago, you came to me and were like, Sam, it's time. You know, I feel like I have enough experience under my belt now that you know, it's time to finally do something as an artist on my own. And you started off, but I say that we co-produced this track because you laid down the piano and you laid down some different synths and pad ideas, and you even recorded some of the vocals yourself. And then you were like, here's what I have so far. And you didn't even tell me I'm ready to turn this over to you.
No.
You were like, just listen to this.
Yeah.
And so I think I listened to it in my car a couple times and went, I think I have some ideas for this. There were some early conversations about how much is too much for this song. Like, how do we keep the level of energy maintained? So, like, what was going through your mind during those first couple of weeks before we really jumped into the process?
Well, when I sent it to Sam, it was a demo. It was just piano and vocals, but really minor vocals. And quite honestly, if you know me, or if you're getting to know me, I just love piano and voice. So I was tempted to just have this song be that. But then when I brought it to this guy, he was like, oh my gosh, there's so many elements here that could be added. And I trust him, honestly, with everything and all things music. So I said, you know what, I gotta give this away. And it was hard at first.
I wanted to present you with, here's what it would sound like kind of at maximum capacity. And then we can always trim that bonsai tree back to something. I don't want to run away with your vision, but I was like, I'm hearing some really chill step vibes, you know? So we were like, if we stack out this final chorus to be the biggest point of the song, then everything leading up to that can be really, really conservative. So we got together in room A that day and just sort of threw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall.
We did, and I love that term. I learned it for the first time with him. A bunch of a spaghetti. So just spaghetti.
I didn't know I said it then. I don't remember saying it then. Apparently I did.
Maybe it was, anyway. But yeah, and we went for it. And I remember that Sam was like, all right, Dom, try this and try that. And then my favorite part was when he grabbed an acoustic guitar off of the wall. And I mean, this is like a guitar that I've probably had since I was like, I don't know, 13, and like out of tune, whatever. So he tuned it up really quickly, so like whatever. And he just laid down this acoustic track, and sure enough.
This was kind of what I was hearing in my head. I was like, well, what if we play it fingerstyle? And it's not very present in the final mix, but it's in here. It's this line, this. Can anyone see inside this room? And then when you zoom out and you hear that in context, there's a lot of other things going on. I really enjoy what's going on with all these layers of vocals here as well. And this is a real payoff because we didn't want to lay all the cards out on the table in the first chorus of the song or in the beginning. It needed to stay moody and minimal in the beginning and build up to this. But I love that when we get to the mountaintop, we get all this stuff going on here.
Can anyone hear me? Can anyone see inside this room? Is anyone listening?
And during that time, I mean, if you listen to the track, if you can listen to it, or if you did already, there are these slight and silent oohs in the back. And that was something that I quite honestly, I didn't hear. But Sam was saying, instead of instrumentation, like taking the strings or piano and having them do those lead lines, what if your voice becomes the instrument? So it was again, like this whole thing was me listening to his creativity and going for it. And gosh, the final product I completely love.
One thing you have to be careful as a producer not to do is to not take an artist's idea and run completely away with it. And I wanted to be really sensitive to not do that, because I'm an artist before I'm a producer. The only reason I do production work is because I learned it being an artist. Your voice is a legitimate instrument. And especially if we're trying to, like, this is your first single, we're trying to showcase you not just as an artist and a songwriter, but as a singer.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of blends in with everything else. You were very concerned from a songwriting perspective with making sure that the production decisions at any given point in the song made some sort of aesthetic sense with what was happening lyrically.
Yes. Yeah, I did. I did. There were a couple of times when we had conversations and I was like, man, there are these like two parts of the songs. One part when we say he curses you, and I was like, Sam, can we just bring out this like, you know, dramatic dark effect there? And then there's this other part where we say he lost you, and I went, man, I want that part to just scream that like God's won. So it was so cool when he turned around the production and hearing how he like added those elements.
I come from like a hard rock background, so a lot of these sort of modern pop tricks are almost as new for me as they are for you. You and I had a conversation about a week beforehand where we were scrutinizing the pre-choruses of the song, because they didn't sound exactly this way even just 2 weeks ago. Like more drums, more kind of rhythmic energy happening, and you were like, yeah, bro, that's cool, but I'm thinking about the lyrics there, and I'm thinking about being really dramatic. And so I'm sitting here doing the mix, and I'm going, okay, without adding instruments, how can I double down on the drama that you want in that moment? But it's these like really affected vocal throws. So if we just solo these out. So that's one of them. Got a little bit of an auto-tuney effect on there, but then this kind of the deep one here.
He curses you.
And we kind of have those things ping pong off of the lead vocal.
He curses you.
Creating drama with doing weird things to vocals.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's hard work, but the simplicity of just in that little moment, how it brings like a whole other dynamic. It's like, I mean, just so,
Simple's hard. Like,
simple's hard.
And one of the things that is one of my favorite end results of this arrangement is also this, what I call this like underwater piano thing. We're gonna give away a secret here, and it's this sound right here. So the way that this sound is achieved, it's actually two layers. One layer is just a straight up piano, but the secret sauce in this piano is I took a Sound Toys little altar boy and I played the piano line up an octave and then pitch shifted it back down, so it sounds really warped and like I said, kind of underwater.
Wow.
So that if you take this effect off, it's the piano just playing it up an octave. You add this, put a little bit of pitch correction on there and douse it in some reverb, but the real sauce is just dropping it an octave. So it's, to me, it sounds like a metal tube being struck like in the distance. So then you end up with this kind of dull thud being brought into tune. Then just double that with something that's a little bit more like a bell. You put those two things together and you get this really cool shafty lead line.
Yeah.
I would think it's one of the first production elements that I added and I emailed to you. Sort of worked my way into this and I was like, oh, I hope she likes this as much as I do, because I'm super into it.
Yeah, I did. It's like the first thing when you sent me back one of our first like couple of, I don't know what you call them, like demos or tracks. Anyway, and it caught me off guard, but in a great way, because I hadn't heard it, but his ear heard it, and I just felt like it it just brought like that hook together, the two aspects of the song, to just like a nice sandwich.
For anybody who's doing production work out there, sometimes it's not about, look, there's a lot of layers in this song. I believe in layers, but there are particular moments where it's not so much about having a ton of layers as it is having one really interesting thing. I hope you guys have dug this sort of breakdown of the production. It's been a lot of fun collaborating on and bringing her vision to life. If you haven't already, go pick up Psalm 10 on your favorite streaming or download service. Give her page a like and let's blow it up. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Until next time, onward and upward.
Can anyone hear me? Can anyone see inside this room? Is anyone listening?
Cool?
Nice.
Cool. High five.
That was